sure you've heard the phrase, do not be afraid, is in the Bible 365 times, one for every day of the year. I mean, that sounds good, right? And look, it's got tons of memes out there online, so you know it's true. But is it really? The whole 365 times claim? It's a myth. It's a feel-good phrase somebody just made up and got spread around. And while the sentiment is sweet, the truth is a lot deeper and more powerful. So first off, it's simply not true that do not be afraid is written 365 times in the Bible. It's not even close. With all the free Bible resources out there like Bible Hub, Bible Gateway, eSword, even ChatGPT, you can easily do a search and find that be not afraid appears about 70 times. That's 295 shy of the 365 we've been told. But maybe it's just a wording issue, right? Maybe if we search for afraid alone, it might line up. Nope. If we search afraid, it shows up about 200 to 210 times, depending on the translation. And remember, that includes every mention. That means fear of enemies, fear in people's hearts, everything. It's not all God saying, do not be afraid. So that's definitely not it. So what if we go even broader? Let's pull in all the mentions of fear, from fear not to fear the Lord to fear of enemies. Still doesn't work. Fear appears about 330 times, but it includes positive and negative uses. Fear not is part of it, yes, but so are descriptions of fear as an emotion, commands to fear God, and a whole lot more. So what if we try to gather every verse about not being afraid, about casting anxieties, or relying on God's strength? We'd get about 145 verses that fit the fear not or do not worry vibe, and that's still far short of 365. So it begs the question, knowing that this do not be afraid 365 times thing is bogus, why do we keep spreading it? And why do we need a cute saying telling us to not be afraid? Well, it says something more about us. Because here's a hard truth. We want easy comforts. Something to hang on the fridge or post on the wall or put up on social media that makes us feel secure. But God's strength doesn't need a soundbite. We don't need 365 reminders to live without fear. We just need to know who we are in God. For God did not give us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power, love, and of a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1:7. And there is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear. 1 John 4:18. And these verses go deeper than any phrase tally ever could. They show us who we're called to be. People defined not by fear, but by God's love and power within us. It's not about counting verses. It's about living in the reality of who God says we are. Children of God who bear God's DNA. In the ancient world, neither the Hebrews nor the Greeks even used a 365-day calendar. So the idea of 365 times, one for every day, wouldn't even make sense to them. Plus, the Protestant Bible, as we know it, didn't get its final form until the 1600s to the 1800s. So we're borrowing a calendar and canon that didn't exist when these words were written, thinking it's all tailor-made for our current lives. I mean, that's a little self-centered, and it's definitely Eurocentric when you think about it, right? Now, don't get me wrong. We're not called to live in fear. That is absolutely true. But we don't need to rely on a mythical number to remember that. So instead of reaching for a feel-good line, what if we reach deeper into who God says we already are? Instead of catchy phrases, let's embrace the wonder and mystery of Christ and what he reveals about us. Like the fact that we are seated with Christ right now in heavenly places, living as he is in this world, because as he is, so are we in this world. Maybe we need fewer cute sayings and more commitment to becoming and revealing who your Creator already says we are, because God has called us to live with power, to let God's perfect love drive out fear, to walk through the valleys knowing we're not alone. So here's my challenge. Let's stop relying on made-up encouragement and instead stand firmly in our identity as God's children. Let's step into that truth and live it every day, with or without catchy slogans. God bless. You're loved. See you soon.